This is Spain, not the Spain you're picturing right now. No flamenco, no beach, no paella. Somewhere in the south of this country is a desert so dry, so cinematic, that Hollywood used it to fake the American frontier for 50 years. And that's the first thing you need to understand about Spain. Whatever you think this place is, you're only right about maybe a third of it. Over the next half hour, we're crossing deserts, volcanoes, 2 different oceans, 4 languages, and roughly 2,000 years of empires, Roman, Moorish, Christian, and whatever it is Spain is building now. And we're saving the strangest place for last. A village near the very end of this list that's built from the exact same red rock it's standing on. So completely that from a distance, you can't tell where the mountain ends and the town begins. But we start somewhere much higher up, literally. Most people assume Spain is a coastal country. It has to be, right? Beaches, sun, sangria. But the geographic heart of Spain isn't near any sea at all. It's a vast, high plateau called the Meseta, sitting more than 600 meters above sea level. And Madrid was built right on top of it. That makes Madrid the highest capital city in Europe, higher than Vienna, higher than Bern. A capital that quietly outranks the Alps in elevation bragging rights, and almost nobody talks about it. But altitude isn't why people fall for this city. It's the rhythm. Madrid runs on a schedule that makes 0 sense to outsiders and perfect sense to everyone who lives there. Lunch can stretch 2-3 hours. Dinner doesn't really start until 10. And somehow, the city is still going strong at 2 a.m. Under the stone arcades of Plaza Mayor, built in the 1600s, people still do exactly what they did 4 centuries ago. Sit, drink coffee, and watch everyone else walk by. A few streets over, inside the Prado Museum, hangs some of the most important paintings ever made. Velázquez, Goya, housed in a building so unassuming from the outside, you could walk past without a second glance. Madrid, though, isn't really why people fly into Madrid. It's the launch pad. Less than an hour outside the city sits a place so well preserved, it looks like a film set. Toledo is wrapped almost entirely by the Tagus River, sitting on a hill like a natural fortress. For centuries, Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived here side by side, not as a footnote on a museum plaque, but as the actual, functioning identity of the city. It's still called, unofficially, the City of 3 Cultures. Its narrow streets pass former sword workshops. Toledo steel was, for centuries, considered the finest in the world. beside a Gothic cathedral whose bell tower seems to physically pierce the sky. And an old fortress, the Alcázar, that has been destroyed and rebuilt more times than most buildings get repainted. The painter El Greco loved this place so much he stayed and painted the city under a storm-dark sky. In a piece that still hangs a short walk from where he stood. Toledo is Spain frozen mid-history. What's coming up next is Spain frozen mid-engineering, and it genuinely shouldn't still be standing. That arched structure, cutting straight through the middle of Segovia's old town, is a Roman aqueduct, not a replica, not a reconstruction, the actual thing. Almost 2,000 years old, nearly 30 meters tall, built from massive granite blocks, the Romans stacked with no mortar at all. Just precision, gravity, and time. It has survived earthquakes, wars, and 2 millennia of Spanish weather using nothing but the weight of its own stones. At the edge of town sits a castle with sharp, pointed towers. Local legend claims it partly inspired a certain animated fairy tale castle you've definitely seen. Spain has never confirmed it, and never quite denied it either. Everything so far has been Christian Spain, Roman Spain, medieval Spain. Head south from here, and you land in a completely different civilization, hiding in plain sight in the middle of the country. 1,000 years ago, Córdoba was arguably the most advanced city on the planet. While much of Europe couldn't read, Córdoba had public libraries holding hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, running water, and paved, lit streets. It was the capital of an Islamic caliphate that stretched across most of what is now Spain. What survives from that era is the Mezquita, and it might be the strangest religious building in Europe. Step inside, and you're standing in a forest of over 800 columns, arches striped red and white in every direction, built as a mosque in the 8th century. Walk further in, and without warning, a full Renaissance cathedral rises out of the center of it, one religious structure physically built inside another, permanently fused together. Nobody removed the mosque to build the cathedral. They just built the cathedral inside it, and 8 centuries later, it still works. Córdoba wasn't where Moorish Spain made its final stand, though. That happened one city over, in a palace so beautiful, its own conquerors reportedly couldn't bring themselves to tear it down. In 1492, the same year Columbus sailed for the Americas, the very last Muslim kingdom in Spain fell here in Granada. As the story is told, the departing king turned back for one final look at his palace and wept. The spot where he supposedly stopped still carries his name today. the Moor's last sigh. The palace itself is genuinely worth the tears. Carved plaster ceilings so intricate they look like frozen lace. Courtyards built around still water, specifically so the architecture reflects itself, doubling every arch and column. It's called the Alhambra, and it stands as one of the finest surviving pieces of Islamic architecture anywhere in Western Europe. Below the palace, in the Albaycin quarter, white alleyways climb a hillside maze that hasn't changed shape in 500 years. Locals will tell you the exact terrace where you need to be at sunset to watch the Alhambra turn gold. We're not going to tell you where. Some things you have to earn by getting a little lost first. From here, we leave the mountains behind for a town that looks like it's defying physics. Ronda is genuinely split into two halves by a gorge over 100 meters deep. Held together by a single stone bridge, the Puente Nuevo. It is not a camera trick. Ernest Hemingway came here, fell in love with it, and kept coming back. Not just for the wine, though the wine helped, but because Ronda is also considered the birthplace of modern bullfighting. Its bull ring, built in the 1700s, is among the oldest in the country, and whatever you feel about the tradition, it's impossible to deny the town's role in shaping it. At sunset, the white houses lining the cliff edge, the same white you'll see across half of Andalusia, turn a soft shade of pink, as if the whole town is blushing. We're a little more than a fifth of the way through this journey, and so far it's all been the inland spine of the country. Mountains, plateaus, deserts. Spain's real identity, though, gets written on its edges. So let's find the water, starting somewhere most people have never heard of.